Welcome back to another episode. Now, I'm in time-lapse mode currently as I'm building an iron farm. This is the iron farm that I've been building for years now. It is Nembon's design and it is fantastic. I always build this one, and that is what we are doing just to start things off here, get some iron flowing ready for the rest of the episode. What I thought I'd take the time to do now is just go over my thoughts on the trial chambers now having completed one in the early game. So the late game thoughts, I haven't tried the ominous ones yet, but the early game I can give my thoughts on. And I think it's a really fun experience, really useful and challenging as well for the early game, even if you're not going to cheese it. The loot, it's not great. It's really not great from the trial spawners and the vaults. But there's a few unique things which are there mainly to collect, but in terms of the food that you get from it, it's rubbish. In terms of other loot, you're getting stuff like wooden axes and just absolute rubbish that even at the start of the game isn't useful, because you're going in there, you've at least got full iron going into a trial chamber. You might even have a little bit more, as I did. But I think where the trial chamber really shines is its utility in its other things. So, for example, I needed string last episode, so I went and I killed the spiders from the spawner there. This episode, I'm going to need packed ice, and there's packed ice in there, signifying the stray spawners. And the stray spawners, they have packed ice next to them. You can get slime balls, you can get loads of useful things without having to travel too far if you just need one or two, as I will need later on this episode. Need a little bit of packed ice, needed some slime balls, some string, some arrows and some bones, just some general stuff that you don't want to spend too much time getting, but it's just there, kind of useful. And the copper as well in the chambers, very useful. I haven't mined out just yet, but it's a fantastic resource to have and just to be able to go and use and take from. So it's not making things harder. It's quite a good thing to have on your doorstep. They're quite abundant, so they're all around, and they're just really useful. Now, let's get out of this time-lapse mode and get it back into the real world. Ooh, and I am no longer voiceover Max. I am in game now. Look, I'm in game and I'm talking. I'm going to react in real time. Ow, ow. And we are here with the iron farm. So, as I was saying earlier, we've got to get a zombie in place now. Luckily, we had that huge horde of zombies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this first one here. We're going to take him up, get him in, and then we're going to see if this is working, because I have a feeling that it's not going to be quite efficient because the iron golems are within a certain radius of the villagers, so I may need to just drop those down, which is a problem that I did think of, but then thought, you know what, we'll give it a go, and then it's a future problem. So let's quickly name our zombie. There we go, named, and I'm going to break its boat, lovely, and it's going to follow me now, hopefully. Come on, buddy. It's going to come up, it's going to be tricked by the lovely smell of our flesh, and it's going to come up the water spout. Come on. No. No. No, still not coming. Right, let's get down. No. Ooh, ooh. Okay, took too much full damage there. Okay, I think... Yeah, follow me, follow me. Follow me. Ooh. Oh, there we go, we got him. And he's in the minecart. Lovely. Oh, so if we wander around, we should see... We've got our first bits of iron, yes. You can almost die now, I'm pretty sure. I'll just kill you. Got some iron in there. Don't have 7, so it's almost like there's been 2 spawned. 3, I think it is too close. Got another one coming in, maybe not, maybe not. So we're in the spawn chunks. So this is just going to be running as we play. So fantastic scenes. If this has worked properly, let's make sure that we are spawn proof in here as well. And there we go, that is the basic of our iron farm done, I believe. Let's just keep watching it for the time being. Let's watch over here. It should hopefully spawn in as it goes around. Yeah, we got one. And over here, we should hopefully see the same thing. Because then once we've seen this in action, then we can start a crafting auto system. No, it's not, that one didn't spawn in one. So I think it's getting one on every other go. We want it to be on every single one. So I'm going to move the killing chambers down. We've sorted out the killing chambers for the iron golem, just move them a couple blocks down. A little bit annoying for the redstone. But shall we get into sorting out our auto crafting system for it? So what we're going to do is we're going to craft up all of the iron into blocks, store the double chest full of poppies, and then everything else goes down into bone meal. So let's start off with our item transportation. So it's going to come along here and then it's going to go down. This will be the final stage, so let's just work on this one here. It's going to come down here into the chest. So this is where the bone meal from the composted poppies is going to go. So that's just going to filter along into there. In front of there, we're going to store the poppies in here, but we're going to do the iron redstone first, and we're just going to move around the order of these. So if we just spin that around there, so now everything's going to filter along this way. Underneath here, we're going to need to put our item filter. So we're going to swap this out for some stone bricks, as that's going to be a comparator there. And then we're going to clear out a little bit more space so that we can get back and build our classic impulse item filter. So bam bam, and then down one, bam there, bam bam, and bam, and that there is the shape of our item filter. Let's get the actual redstone in for it. Don't need iron, I need a torch and a comparator, so that's going to go there. Repeater there, 1, 2, 3 redstone, torch there, and then we're going to get our hopper facing into there with our iron as our main filter, and we're going to use oak saplings as our blocker. Then we're going to pop down our crafter here facing upwards, and our hopper going into it with our chest for our storage there. Probably should connect them, that would be a wise idea. There we go, and then let's clear out a little bit more space so that we can put our redstone in here. So we need to be able to tell when the crafter, oh, that's a comparator there, is full. We need to be able to tell how full it needs to be. So if we pop another one here, and then we fill up that there, that's then going to go into a block here, pop the redstone out here, and then repeat into that block there so that it crafts. Not particularly good if we want to then store some double chests full of stuff, so we're going to have to figure that out if we end up filling this up with iron, but we're quite a while away, so I'm not sure how much of a problem that's going to be. So now we just pop our iron into there, that's just going to float along, sink down into here, and then we're going to craft up some iron block. Fantastic. But before our poppies get all the way into there, we're going to need to put our chest down here and back here. Hop over here. So our poppies are going to filter into there before reaching the composter. So there we go, 7 blocks of iron already, and things are all working nicely here. So we've got a nice little setup, and then that is our redstone. I'm going to copy that over 4 times. Now we come back with all 4 of these little sections done, so we're collecting up those iron blocks, the poppies, and then eventually bone meal once we've got enough poppies, and that is going to go all the time because we are in the spawn chunks at the moment. And if you remember, I did say that we are going to have a special project out the spawn, but that is not for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it kind of the industrial district, the temporary industrial district for the time. But now we've got the iron farm, we can now move over to the next project, and that will be back over at our little witchy village. So over there, spin transition, will I remember. Here we are back at the village. What a lovely sight it is to behold. Really nice build from us. But we are not going to be staying around this little bit here too long, for our next project is underground. Now what I need next is a good source of XP and a little bit of bone meal and another opportunity to use the crafter. So I'm going to be heading to find our skeleton spawner and making something out of that. So it's going to be slightly more interesting than your normal one, as I want to be able to use the crafter in all of it. So it is going to be crafter heavy. It's a lot more redstone oriented than a normal one. And here we are in the cave, and we are going to quickly rush in, pop the torches down, there we go, and the skeletons are going to fight each other as all good things should be doing.
bam, 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 and the last one, no, boom, and we've knocked them out. I'm going to finish off lighting up some of this cave so that we're nice and safe to work in, and then we're going to get on with a nice little dig-in time lapse, because don't we all just love a time lapse? Oh, I forgot to do the spinny transition again. Oh, I'm every time. Maybe I should just stop trying. We are now all dug out here, quite a big pit. You can see the spawn is actually quite small in comparison to where the redstone and the build is going to be going. It is going to be going in this slot here. Now I've got to go and collect up all of the resources. I'm going to gather up that while I'll meet you in my redstone testing world so we can go over the actual build itself. Welcome to a different world. Now this is the third time a different world has been shown in one of these videos. This is one of my redstone testing worlds, or just general testing worlds, that I created when the crafter was first introduced into snapshots so I could have a play around. So this is the contraption. So the skeletons would end up falling on this block, and this is where they'd be killed, and then their goodies would be sorted out into two different sides. So bones would go onto this side, arrows, bows and armor would go onto this side, and then underneath is the storage system for it. Over here we have the bone system, where the bones are going to come through here and then they're going to get distributed evenly, so we end up with the same amount of bones and the same amount of bone blocks. What happens is the crafters fill up with all of the bones and stuff, and then they get crafted once a bone comes into the dropper, so we end up with one bone block for every bone. The next thing is actually what I started off with. It is the sorter for the bows and the armor. So what happens is that the arrows, bows and armor all come in this way. The arrows fall down here and then they fill up this dispenser here, and then any spare ones will end up in the storage system here. This dispenser is used for the bow and the armor sorting. So what happens is that everything else then comes down here. Dispenser spits out both an armor stand and a piece of armor. So the bow will end up getting dispensed just into the water and picked up below here and go into a dispenser auto crafter. But if it's armor, it will stay on the armor stand, and then the armor stand will end up in that pit there, shot, break, and then the armor will despawn and the armor stand just gets recycled. So all of the bows and stuff in here, it goes through one at a time. You can see the armor stand goes through there. Next one goes out a bow dispense, so it picked up underneath the mud, and the armor stand just cycles through. There we go, we got another bow that time. Armor stand breaks, recycled, comes out. Bows come down into this system down here, which is a dispenser auto crafter. Fill up these chests here with cobblestone and redstone, and then a dispenser will end up in these blocks here. So for every bow that comes in, then it just gets cycled through and crafted. What I wanted to do is use a dropper and cobblestone and use a decaying redstone clock from the comparators here. So there would be a signal strength there, so it would change 7 times and dispense 7 cobblestone into here. Obviously that one isn't working, but this one here is. So the system works, the bow comes in, it then fills into this spot, it detects that, and then it sorts it so another bow will not be able to come into the crafter until it is completely finished crafting with this little system here, and then it will start the redstone burnout clock here, so that it will then dispense 8 cobblestone into the droppers and the hoppers, so it can just flow straight through, and it will also dispense 1 redstone. Then once all of that is then filled up in there, then it will then activate and craft it. So there will always be 2 lots of stuff here. So pop it in up here, and then we can see it fills up, then all of the cobblestone fills up, then the redstone fills up, then it crafts. So it's always here. It's not going to lose the recipe, and that is how our dispenser autocrafter works. Materials gathered for our skeleton spawner and the decoration around it. Now, ironically, the only thing that we are currently missing is 38 bone blocks. Let's hit that time lapse. Theme for this bit of the area is the haunted mines, and so I've got the bone pit. There's a lot of just strewn out bones in here. The glow squid does kind of ruin the aesthetic because I had to put a pool of water above to get the drips that I want to get. So we've got all of these little things that show the bones, and then we've got a rib cage in the walls, which is where the spawner is. Now, this is where you can stand to get the bones from the skeletons, and then it goes into the storage, which is down below. Here, this is a little bit dark. We've got our storage in. I don't think we've killed enough yet because we've got to have that backlog for the crafters. I've disabled the dispenser crafter at the moment. That's just my test one there because I don't have enough cobblestone. We need to upgrade some of the redstone for this. It's all well and good doing what it's meant to be doing, as it is now. But if things don't go quite to plan, then maybe we need to change up things to make them a little bit more foolproof. I'm using this farm for a little bit now, and we are almost full of bows in the storage. So that means that I need to get this dispenser crafter up online. So what I've done is that I've gone out and I've mined out a load of cobblestone, and now we're going to add in the system that allows it to lock if we are out of materials. So we need to read the output of this line here. So we need to make sure that we've got redstone in here, and we can get rid of this redstone block now so the crafter can carry on doing its thing while we're doing this. So what we're going to need is we're going to need to take this and we need to power this hopper here to lock it. So we're outputting from here and here. Oh, why is that there? This is why you should never do redstone on camera. Yes, it's fitting through the gap. We're going to need to move this line, I think. But in the meantime, let's do our redstone plan. Oh, great. So we're outputting from this dropper here to make sure that we've got cobblestone. So we're going to need to run this. We need to make sure that there is at least more than 7 cobblestone in. So we need to take at least 2 lines off of there. And we are coming up to here. With this one, we only need the 1. There we go, our 2 changes have been made. Next up, our skeleton grabber. I'm going to call it the grabber, the lifter to the heavens, and then down to hell again. Upgrade number 2 is now done. Our skeletons are now getting pushed up through this. So it is a boat that is submerged and then they get ejected up. This bit was really tricky to do because you needed to align it just perfectly. So if I find my way down here. So it is aligned inside a soul sand block, which is causing the bubble column. It's on top of these pickles. It is inside of these mangrove roots, and it is also slightly out into this block. So what happens is that the skeletons funneled into this channel here, they then enter the boat and then they are immediately ejected on top of the soul sand block. Now originally I had it so that it was their foot level that was getting put into the boat, but then we had the problem of them getting ejected back into this block here, and so there would be a little cooldown before they could re-enter the boat, and then it was kind of random whether or not they got put in on top of the soul sand or back here, where if they were alone then they'll be put back here, but if there's multiple skeletons keep pushing through then they would end up getting ejected into the soul sand column. But now with the boat at their head level, and we just drop this column here so that they then always now get ejected up that soul sand column with no one getting stuck. So they immediately fall in straight up, boom, straight in and up, straight in and up, straight in and up. So that is the skeleton farm. That is all of the improvements made to it now. So now we're going to head over to the iron farm and sort out our auto crafter for the bone blocks there. So we return to the spawn iron farm where I have been fixing up some new redstone into our collection system. So now all the chests are in line. This is where our bone blocks are going to be created from our poppies that are getting composted down into bone meal. So we're getting the iron blocks. Poppies are filling up nicely. Once they're full, any poppies will get turned into bone blocks. So I've currently done that on 3 of our 4 segments. So let's come and do this last segment together. So I'm going to break the chest that it's in. I'm going to break these 2 blocks down here, and then I'm going to break a couple of things around here. This is redstone that I've practiced, so this redstone you're absolutely fine to do on camera. Otherwise, I would absolutely mess it up again. So we're having a block there, we've got 2 blocks going to there, and we've got these ones here, which are our redstone blocks. It's literally exactly the same as we did for the iron block crafter, but it's over here instead. So there is part of our parent system. Now we've got our crafter, and let's fill up all of our slots in it there, and jump and try and place, there we go. And here, jump and try and place, there we go. And lastly, let's get out of this hole, place our... I've done it 1 block too low. So remember that bit where I said I'll practice this so I can do it on camera because it's not going to go wrong. Yeah, when it went wrong. Let's just ignore that. So these are the redstone, the blocks the redstone's going to go on. And oh, what a nightmare. There we go. So there's our crafter now that we are going to take a 9 strength output from. We're going to put that from our comparator going into another comparator, which is going to read the crafter that's actually doing the crafting. And then we've got our redstone, our repeater, which will then craft it whenever this is full. And that will then go into this chest here, which we have done perfectly with no issues, and then cover that up so that it looks slightly less. It looks exactly the same, but we have now sorted that out. So we're going to be getting our iron blocks, our poppies, and our bone blocks from every bit at spawn. Next time, Max messes up the cobblestone generator. Oh, Max sings a song while farming. The head bone connected to the neck bone. The neck bone's connected to the spine bone. The spine bone's connected to the rib bones. And the rib bone's connected to the cave. And starts yet another project area. Well, I don't think there's much room to build here. If I was smart, I would now be going and recording the clip that you've just seen from the skits. But I'm not, so I wasted a lot of time just running around. Oh well, will I learn? Probably not. Well, that's how we do it. Thank you very much for watching. You've enjoyed this little switch up. We've been doing some redstone today. These glow squids are kind of annoying me, but it's very useful redstone that we have done indeed. We've got a dispenser crafter, we've got an iron farm, and we've got XP and bone meal and arrows and all of that good stuff. So that will set us up nicely for our next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.